Like a lot of people, you've put a lot on hold. Eating in restaurants, praying in your house of worship, attending sporting events, all to protect your health. So as we all start to get back, the same people who have been protecting your health all along are the people doing the most to keep your health safe, always. We're open for emergency care and for appointments safely for you. CHI St. Luke's Health Memorial. Welcome back to the Chamber Connect podcast. And in this episode, we are wrapping up our month-long series on shopping local. So we're talking here with Tara and Tara Squared from the Chamber. And we want to talk a little bit about the Chamber's involvement with shopping local and local business. And first off, how are y'all?
Good.
We're great.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about, let's talk about the Chamber in general. So first off, if you've made it through this many episodes and haven't figured this out yet, I don't work for the Chamber. So I'm not actually a Chamber employee.
He's one of the best Chamber investors.
That's right. I don't have an office here. We joke that I should sometimes, but we help out and do a lot of the marketing and work with the Chamber on a lot of those things. But I'd like just kind of us to all talk about the Chamber in general. So tell us a little bit about kind of what the Chamber does at a high level. And I know there's some definite misconceptions about what a Chamber does, and kind of shed some light on that for our listeners.
Well, I think to begin with, you have to know our mission. And our mission is to advocate to improve economic prosperity in the business environment in our community. So we are a membership-based chamber, and we really advocate for the business community, both large and small. We represent over 800 businesses. So when you become an investor in the Chamber, not only do you, like if say I joined the Chamber, then anybody that works for me also is an investor of the Chamber. So it's not just for one person. So there are so many different niches that we can put people in and get them plugged into. Whereas Tara's over the diplomats and she's over the women's networking and so many other things. But wherever you have a need, we can fit that specifically and tailor it to your employees.
There's something I love that you said about this, and I think this is unique, that we're called investors, right? So, and I think it used to be members, right? So that's changed recently. Kind of explain that for me.
So when I came on board, it was members, and there was this huge push from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and from the WACE, which is the Western Association of Chamber Executives, to really change up that lingo and to call people investors. And it just made perfect sense to me. You get to be a member of a club, but we're so much more than a club. And we felt like that if you invested in the Chamber, that it was our duty and responsibility to invest back in your business and to invest in your employees so that you really got a great return on investment for us. So we changed that. It's been hard to find all the things that are printed that say members.
Cross out member and write
fix
investment.
it to investors.
Sure.
And that's taken us really about 2 years to fully change all the lingo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. And Tara, tell us a little bit about your role here at the Chamber. So what is it that you do here?
What do I not do? Sometimes is the question.
That's probably a better question.
My job as the director of events and engagement. So I am responsible for a lot of the programming. So Power Networking Breakfast, Business After Fives, Chamber University, Women's Networking, you name it, all of those different areas. We found when I first started, when Tara and I started shortly after she did full-time. And so we sat down together and started to realize that we were duplicating efforts in a lot of different areas. I was looking at the schedule, and in 1 month, the Young Professionals Network, YPN, was having a cybersecurity. The Power Networking Breakfast was having a cybersecurity, and then something else was happening with cybersecurity. And we just thought, we're not connected in our programming. And so by kind of centralizing that in one person, one department, we are able to strategically look at our programming for the year to make sure that we're hitting the areas that need to be hit in regards to human resources for our small business, in regards to marketing for our nonprofits and small business. So we're able to hit all those different areas without duplicating effort. And so that's a lot of what I do. I reach out to our businesses, our investors, to find out what is it that they need from us. When we're looking at chamber universities specifically, we have those quarterly, and what type of educational resources do you need? What can we provide for you? Because it's hard as that small business owner or that small nonprofit. They don't have a lot of the resources and or time, to go to a 3-day conference in Dallas or Houston. So if we can bring that material here locally, also what that allows us to do is to utilize our investors, so our other investors. So we create that networking environment. Thinking of our marketing conference that's in November, we use all of our marketing investors, so yourself and several others. Those are the people who are teaching that content to the people that are participating. So not only is it a win-win for the participant, but it's also a way to network and create and build membership and connection with between the investors. So that on a scale kind of overview is what I do. I'm also in charge of our leadership programs. So I manage Leadership Lufkin, Leadership Tomorrow. We're kicking off a new Leadership Alumni Committee that will start at the 1st of 2021. So we're starting to meet and build ideas on that. And then we're kicking off Leading Edge, early to mid-career program that is geared towards moving you from volunteerism to volunteer leadership, to board leadership. So you'll get board governance training from Angelina College. We'll have supporting speakers, community speakers, as well as executive level mentorship that you'll be paired with, and then a ex officio spot for a month or two on a local nonprofit. So you're really kind of diving into what makes nonprofits successful and how to be on those boards and do a good job. So that'll be a new program that'll start January 2021. So wear a lot of hats, move in a lot of different directions.
I wanted to make sure people understood the difference between the Taras and knew who was who.
I get to throw ideas and say, hey, I had this idea about 3 a.m. and this is kind of what I'm thinking. Sure. Now go research it and figure it out.
Absolutely. I've been on the receiving end of some of those ideas before from you. But to continue talking about buying local, so tell me a little bit, kind of from each of you, the chamber's involvement in this shop local and interacting with businesses of all sizes that are local. I think sometimes we talk about shopping local and we just think of the really small mom and pop shop that's just 2 owner. But even in small business, that keeps those resources in our community. Those are employees that are in our community. Talk to me a little bit about that as far as the chamber's involved.
All month we've been talking about shop local, putting your money where your heart is. And we started off this month with city manager and assistant city manager, really looking and breaking down what that $1.50 that the city gets out of every $100, or that 8.25, and that the city only gets $1.50 out of 8.25. And then breaking it down as to where that money is distributed. And then as the month has gone on, we've talked to local businesses. But for us, shopping local means keeping our heart and soul, the heartbeat of the community going. It's so vital, especially during COVID, when we've all been ordering stuff online to be able to keep safe and to keep our families safe. We've got to change that mentality back, and we've got to be able. And it's going to take some time because the ease of ordering and having it delivered to your door, we've got to look at the bigger picture.
Oh, absolutely.
And that is keeping our local people employed and keeping them here so that they don't have to move their families to another community to get a job.
Yeah.
And that's really what the chamber does. I mean, we try to give networking opportunities. With COVID, I don't think we realized what an event-driven chamber that we were.
Oh, absolutely.
We really are an event-driven chamber, and that's okay. A lot of chambers aren't. It's just the way that we're structured. But, we had to cancel and postpone events, and then we had to come up with new ways to be creative and have an event. And so we have, moved all of our events pretty much to being online. But what we found with your help was that, at a power networking breakfast, we might have typically had 50 people. Well, we were having over 5,000 views and reaching so much more. So we've been able to give our sponsors more bang for their buck, really, during COVID, because they're getting to be really shown and showcased more than they would have just in person. But, we really try to give networking opportunities. Like Tara said, it's important for us to be able to connect an investor to another investor. And it's been interesting to be able to watch people realize what type of small businesses that we have. And to watch all of the connections start flowing so that we keep dollars here locally.
Yeah, it's been our business, my business particularly, has been a testament to that. And that's something I want to talk about real quick for anybody who's listening out there. So I started a wedding film business in 2017, strictly wedding videos. That's all we did. So we went to weddings, probably not something I could have thought I would benefit a ton from the chamber, like just running around, hey, you guys getting married? Can we film your wedding? There's not a lot of that happening at the Business After 5. But we transitioned into the commercial space and started making commercial videos and corporate videos, different things like that. And around that time, I looked to the chamber and started getting involved. We became chamber investors under BP Media Group and really started just trying to be at everything that I could be at. And you talk about being an event-driven organization, and I joke often, I think I have on this podcast before, for our community, if you want to eat lunch, there's an event lunch every single day.
That's right.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There is something being held in Lufkin basically every day. And that speaks to your point about how devastating it was for all those things not to happen. And so I got involved as a diplomat. I think that was probably my first thing I ever did with the chamber. I joked that I was the worst diplomat there. Like there's an award for the best one every year, like the diplomat of the year.
Yes.
I was the opposite of that. I just could never find time to come to the ribbon cuttings, and but I did the best I could with it with the time that I had, and just the networking opportunities were unbelievable for us. So when you look at the return on investment, what you spend in your business. So we went down advertising. We had done Facebook marketing. We're certified from Facebook to do Facebook marketing, and we've not seen a return on investment that's greater than what we've seen becoming an investor in the chamber. And the reason for that is you're seeing people like the Taras. I love calling y'all the Taras, right? And we saw this reoccurring this month in the Small Business Podcast. They talk about that tailored level of customer service that you have that you just don't have in other industries or in bigger business or bigger industries. But we would get connected with companies a lot of times without even asking. Somebody would say, hey, have you heard of Blake? They're doing this, and you need to go talk to this person because they're doing something. They need to do this in video. And it's just been unbelievable. And we're service-oriented business. That being said, I can't speak highly enough about how important it's been for our business, and I couldn't attribute to our growth to really much anything else than what we've had from the chamber. So I wanted to make sure that I had that kind of plug in there and make sure everybody kind of understood where we come from on that. It's so valuable. If you're not already investing in the chamber, I can't imagine why you're listening to this if you're not already a chamber investor, but if you're not, or if you've been on the fence about it, you absolutely should. I mean, return on investment, it's far and above anything else that we've ever done. But
your chest pain, it may mean nothing, but it may take everything. Know the symptoms of a heart attack. If you have any of them, get to the nearest emergency room. We're waiting for you. It's your health, so everything is up to you. Everything. This message brought to you by Woodland Heights Medical Center, home of a nationally accredited chest pain center. Log on to learn more.
Are you interested in buying or selling real estate? I'm Becky Cota, broker and co-owner with my husband Kevin here at Century 21 Cota Realty. We have 21 agents that are highly trained and committed to delivering an extraordinary buying or selling experience. Contact us today to see how we can help you.
So that being said, I want to talk a little bit about kind of what's coming up with the chamber as far as holidays. I know you guys have some cool little programs going on and some neat things. So let's talk a little bit about that.
You tell everybody.
Well, so trying to think about how to get everyone ramped up to shop chamber first, to shop local through the holidays. And we're not just talking about the boutiques downtown. Those are obviously included, but we also want to think about our service industries as well. And so we decided to do a chamber's favorite things. We wanted to be like Oprah and be like, you get one and you get one. But that was kind of the thought behind it. But we wanted to be able to give our small businesses an opportunity to be showcased through the month of December. So our thought is that if you want to participate, if your business would like to participate, it would be $100. Our marketing team would come out to your location. We would do a short video with you, take photos, basically gather all the necessary marketing requirements to boost and publish your either your service or your product. And so you would, I'm thinking we'll just do it in first come, first serve order. So it would be the first 25 days of December. And so we're looking for 25 favorite things. And so it's a way to get your business out within the community and showcase what you want people to know about you during the holidays. We have roughly 6,000, almost 7,000 followers on our chamber page, as well as our group that we manage, the Angelina County Live Shop Local.
Yes.
Live Shop Local.
Changed names a
That was
couple
actually
times.
created during COVID.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
been
it
an awesome
just
resource.
went like gangbuster overnight.
Yeah, within a week, we had almost 11,000. We had close to 10,000 followers, and now we have upwards of 11,000 followers. And it gets really good engagement, and that one is not strictly chamber investor. That is open to the entire community. So we get a lot of publicity through that, a lot of opportunity to post. So, just within our Facebook pages, you could get upwards of 16, 17,000 followers to see your post. We'll also send it out in an email each day to our, we have about 1,600.
I was like, I wish 1,000.
Oh, wow.
1,600 emails that recipients that those go out to, and then just other areas that we can promote. So it's just a really great opportunity to showcase chamber investors during the holiday season.
And we want people to really, think broad. So if you've got a certain product that you want to sell, so if you're doing skincare and you want to really promote one product, let us push the skincare for you. If you're a heating and air conditioning service and you want to give a maintenance package, let us push a maintenance package for you. All that we ask is that you give us one of whatever you want us to push. And then what we're going to do with that one product is we have the women's networking luncheon that we do. We typically have around 150 to 200 women at that luncheon. I think it's December 12th, 13th, somewhere in there. It's the second week of December. So be looking for information on that. But we're going to give that favorite thing as at that luncheon. So we're going to promote your product at that luncheon. And we're going to draw, and someone in the audience will win that product. So it's just another way to continue to promote, what you've got in a service.
December 8th is the
December
Women's
8th.
Networking
There you
Luncheon.
go.
Yeah, December 8th.
So that's when all that'll be given away.
Yes.
Perfect.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good time. And it's a great time for small businesses during the holidays, especially if you have a product or you're a retailer. I mean, this is the time of the year to really ramp that up. And it's a great opportunity to kind of kick that off and really get that going.
It's going to be fun. You know, we vowed that we would be a connector of leaders and influencers, a catalyst for business growth, and a champion for a stronger community. And we continue to stand by those words. It's something that our team truly believes in. We want businesses to succeed. We want our investors to succeed. Even throughout all of this with COVID, we continue to have people join the chamber. And I think it's been a testament to the hard work that the team has continued to put forth for people to be able to see that the chamber is still promoting and we're still doing things. So we definitely want to help push things during the holidays and help get the word out.
So a couple questions here for y'all before we wrap up. I'm totally springing this on them. They have no idea I'm about to ask these questions. But these are a few things we've asked other guests who've been on the podcast. And I think you'll both have a unique perspective on how these go. But having been, I think it'd be hard to say there's anybody who has a closer finger on the pulse to what small business is like, especially in our community. What are some resources that you've seen, the chamber obviously being a great one. If you have any questions about being a business, starting a business, running a business, marketing, the chamber is a fantastic resource. But outside of just you, what are some resources you've seen in our community that you think can help small business?
The Small Business Development Center,
yes,
is fabulous.
I think they get a plug every single
Right.
podcast episode that we do.
We're
pretty sure every single one they've talked about. Yep,
they're awesome.
The Nonprofit Leadership Center with Donna Bustler. Several people, they've started classes and different things. The board governance, so we're continuing that with our Leading Edge program, but she's also teaching that through the college. I've talked to 2 different people today that are taking that board governance class that love it. That, they're a business owner, but they also serve. So how many of us, are serving on, multiple boards? And so we, as business owners, are impacting that nonprofit sector by our leadership. And so taking advantage of those classes that are provided there, I think, is a huge resource. Some of the processes that she's teaching are not only just benefit a board and board governance, but it can also, benefit how you run your business. Effective meetings, why you do what you do. Tara mentioned our being connectors and catalysts and champions. Everything that we do, we verify it through those 3 things. We look at our mission and say, does it meet these needs? And I think being able to use those resources to help make sure that your business is in line with your true mission. And so that just helps to kind of reiterate some things. There's also a leadership class that they're teaching right now. That several people that we know are attending, and they're loving it. And they're not new leaders, they're established leaders, but it's kind of reiterating and refocusing your attention to leadership and what it means to lead people effectively. So I think that what they're doing over at Angelina College is great and great resources for our community. So.
We've also, I think, mentioned Joe Cesar every time as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
He just does such great things. But another organization that I think a lot of people get overlooked is Impact Lufkin. And they are doing such phenomenal things in North Lufkin and providing opportunities for growth. And so, I think Robert Schenkel's doing a great job with that. And that's an organization that I think people forget that is a resource for our community.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good stuff. So if you could give any advice to a small business owner in Lufkin who's just getting started, maybe who's been in business for a while, what would that advice be?
Set up a good team. We have, through the COVID and other things, our Power Networking Breakfast the last 6 months has been focusing on developing a strong team. And so I'm not necessarily mean the team that's sitting in your showroom every day, your employees. Right. I'm talking about kind of that behind the scenes team, having the right accountant, having the right, lawyer, having the right CPAs, having all of those people in place. So that way, that the tough things are kind of handled.
Sure.
I know as more of a creative sort, some of the paperwork stuff is very overwhelming to me. And so I can't do what I do well if I'm worried about those other things. Right. And so by having a quality team, supporting you and behind you, then you can really focus in on what you do and do that well. So through the last 6 months, just my learning through the Power Networking Breakfasts, that's what I would say is to make sure you have a good supporting team.
And I think it goes beyond just the support team for that. I think it also goes to making sure that you surround yourself with your own personal team. I can't tell you how many times that our staff, COVID has pulled our staff together so close, and we're together more with each other than our own families.
Sure.
And so being supportive and making sure that the people that you surround yourself with are definitely that they have your back and they have your best interest. But I think some other things to look at is if you're wondering what is the chamber and what can it do for me, come and visit with us. Let us put you with someone that has benefited. Let us put you with a Blake that's benefited from the chamber. Let us, come and try us out. You don't have to join to try us out. Come see what we're about. And then if we prove ourselves, we'd love to have you join our team.
Sure. And you should just go ahead and join anyway. What are, and this is a kind of a fun one, but what are some misconceptions about the chamber? What are some,
we can't even say that not laughing.
Maybe, yeah, exactly. What are some? I think I've heard some of those stories, but what are some misconceptions that people may not know about, or maybe some things that you do that people don't know about?
Well, I registered someone for his driver's license.
Hey, that is a community service. If
He was
I have
actually sitting in the parking lot.
ever heard of one.
I didn't know until it was over, but yeah, people call for all sorts of things.
Sure.
And, especially with COVID, so many of our resources are limited. And so there was a gentleman who did not have access to the internet. The DMV was not available at that given time, and he was very worried about having his driver's license renewed. And so, I just offered, I said, if you trust me, I'll be glad to do it. So, of course, we're on the phone, I'm typing it in.
That's
My
awesome.
coworkers are all standing around going, what are you doing? And so I read, get his driver's license. And I said, well, this is actually your temporary driver's license. How can I get this to you? You'll need this. And he said, well, I'm sitting out in your parking lot. So, you just never know who's going to call and what impact, you're going to have on their lives. I mean, we had a woman called last Friday who just found out she was diagnosed with cancer. And she was desperately trying to get a hold of someone who could help her. She needed transportation back and forth to Houston. And so, knowing Ashley Berry worked with us for a while and with the East Texas Cancer Alliance of Hope, I said, she said, well, I've already called them, but I called them earlier today. They haven't returned my call. And I said, well, I'm sure that they will, but I know them personally. I'm going to reach out on your behalf. And so being able to give people comfort, in their trials, that I think is the biggest part of what we do, is just to help to reassure that we know people, we have the connections, we have those resources. It's not just a 1-800 number people are calling. We actually know people on the other end. And so we can help connect, those folks. And so,
it's a fun job.
Yeah,
I think
it is.
I think one of my favorite memories, and it may be for as long as I'm ever here, was during COVID. We had a young woman call, and her father had been diagnosed with COVID. He was in the hospital, and she was in a completely different state. And she said, I am looking for a taxi service, a delivery service. I've got to get him a toothbrush. I've got to get him some socks, some sweatpants. Like, he just needs some basic essentials. Can you help me with a delivery service? And I said, well, we'll be your delivery service. And she said, are you kidding me? And I said, no. And she just started sobbing.
Yeah.
And I said, well, again, if you trust me, let me give you my Venmo account number. And you can Venmo me the money. And, we went and bought what he needed at Walmart. We called Jennifer Stevens at Woodland Heights and said, this is going to room so-and-so for this patient from his daughter. And then we Venmo'd her back the money that we didn't spend that she sent. And, we exchanged money via Venmo. And she cried and cried and cried.
Right.
And it was just, she was just so grateful that someone could help and that someone would help.
Yeah.
And so, yes, for as many crazy calls, I mean, they have Googled our number to call us, but they can't Google a number that they want.
Sure.
For as many of those crazy calls, and I will tell you, they keep us in stitches daily.
Oh, yes.
We probably get 3 to 4 a day.
Yeah.
Just random Better Business Bureau phone calls, needing the phone number. Right now, we're the location to call if you need to know where to vote. So,
yes.
Hey, you guys are doing a great service.
We are passing along that information many times a day on where to go to vote and all of that. I know, was it a few weeks ago, I had a lady call that was in Oregon. And she needed to sell some property that was here, and she wanted the right realtor. She wanted somebody that was going to be compassionate and take their time with her. And so, of course, we have, a beat on all of that. And so I gave her 3 or 4 of our investors that were realtors that I thought, fit that mold. And sure enough, one came through, and I think she ended up sending them some salmon and sweets and everything that were specific to her area. And she called me back and she said, I never expected you to follow through, and one, give me somebody that I could work with, and two, that it would be such an excellent experience. And so, those type of things, those maybe are a little bit fewer and farther between. Between the random phone calls, but it is when you get to make a difference in somebody's life. I
think if you're listening, you should gather from this, and the common thread in this has been the connectivity, right? The ability, just because, like I said before, we would be hard pressed to find anybody who has a closer finger on the pulse than what the Chamber does with small business and business in general in our community. That level of connectivity, we've seen it from a business standpoint, where we'll pick up the phone and call you and be like, hey, who do I need to call that's in this industry or in this sector? Or if we want to do business with this person or this business entity, who would we need to contact? Who is that? And they have an answer for that every single time. I mean, it's been unreal how well that connectivity works. But thank you. Yeah, I want to say thank you as an investor in the Chamber and also a co-host of this podcast. But it's been great. It's been a great experience. But thank you all so much for the time. Anything else that you want to close out with?
We do promote Chamber first. That is what we strive to make sure, that we promote Chamber first.
Awesome. Well, we want to thank you all so much for listening. If you're not already a Chamber investor, please reach out to the Chamber. Give them a call. It's, like I said, I can't speak highly enough about how great a tool it's been and an asset for our business. It just instantly made our team bigger by that, what is an initial investment in your business, and you'll see a great return on. And also, if you're listening to this podcast, please like and rate this podcast wherever you're listening to it, and go ahead and subscribe so you'll get these episodes every single Monday when they come out. And remember to shop local as you're doing your holiday shopping. And if you want to watch the video version of this podcast, it is available on the Chamber Facebook and the Chamber YouTube. So we will see you next week.